Welcome, everyone. Hi, Katja. Hi, Marianne. I'm happy you're here. We might be a small, but I think a mighty group today. I know we can't offer lunch through the screen, but hopefully we can offer some food for thought as we talk about this intersection of workforce development and navigation and mentorship. So yeah, we're going to probably dig right in. I know some folks might jump in late. It might just be a smaller group. We know there are a lot of folks on vacation, and July is a busy time of kind of winding up those things, and then back to school and transition over into programming this fall as well. But we're happy you're here, and we are going to record this for folks that aren't able to be with us but are interested in this training. And so we want to be able to offer that up to them too. So with that, I just wanted to kind of start with a quick story. So, and this is just a really, I think, a powerful example of why the intersection of workforce navigation and mentorship matters. So the City of Davenport AmeriCorps and Youth Corps program in Iowa is working to provide people between ages of 17 and 19 with summer employment. Their program places young people at work sites and align with their interests, providing them with the opportunity to explore various career interests, while earning a stipend and supporting their community. So when 17-year-old John, who you see in this picture here, signed up for the program, he was paired with Louise Hill, the Achievers Director for the YMCA of Iowa, Mississippi Valley. So thanks to Connect, Focus, Grow training, they've both been able to really learn from one another and make the most of this experience together. So in describing her mentoring approach, Louise said, "I make myself available so that if John has any questions or concerns, he knows that I'm open and understanding that he can come to me with those issues. A lot of these young people are learning who they are. We have to be more flexible to allow them to explore other possibilities." And again, that was Louise, John's mentor. So I feel that I'm empowered, or I'm in a powerful role as a mentor to be where I can be a kind of help and kind of mold John as well as others to be the best that they can be. So before meeting Louise, John planned to pursue custodial and maintenance work at the YMCA, but after Louise's encouragement to try other areas of work, John discovered a passion for working with children. He says, "I like to be a role model and a leader. It doesn't feel like a job. It feels like a hobby. To get paid to do something I love is amazing. I see myself doing this for a long time." For Louise, working with John has given her a new perspective as well, not only to have had an opportunity to be a mentor, but then to learn from John as well, shared Louise. So with that, I wanted to kind of kick us off with that little bit of story. I encourage you to think about your own experience, your own journey of who believed in you and what impact did they have. And Sarah linked the story too in the chat. If you'd like to kind of go back to that, you're welcome to do that. So again, we're going to dive right into this. I know the time will fly, but we want to start from a good place, and that's getting to know you. And then we'll quickly introduce Mentor Minnesota and our team, and then provide you with a soft preview or a mini training of this Connect, Focus, Grow, the workforce development training that Mentor has put together. And then going to highlight some impactful resources, including our workforce development toolkit, and then the workforce equity pledge. And I know, Marianne, you've probably seen that in some of our YouthWorks meetings, but it's a really nice way to kind of plug and play for organizations to get involved in this workforce equity and, be able to kind of pick and choose at what level they want to be involved. And then we'll have some time for some questions at the end. So with that, I'd love you to share in the chat. And again, I know it's a small, but again, powerful group of folks here today, but your name and pronouns, the organization, agency, or program that you're joining us. And then who was someone in your career corner? Who was somebody there cheering you on, encouraging you? It can be maybe you've got someone right now, and this can change over time, but kind of think back to those powerful career corner folks that are cheering you on. And I'd love to have you share in the chat. And I'll also add that too. And I know Eric just jumped on. And with that, I'm going to hand the mic over to Sarah and Allie, my teammates, to introduce themselves and maybe share who was in their career corner.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the folks in my career corner were definitely someone who's still my mentor, but made an immense impact in my career and my personal life, just because he's such a wonderful role model for me. And that is Daryl Thompson, who's the executive director of Boulder Options, who just really believed in the work that I did and believed in me and helped mirror back what he saw as being my skills. So I owe a lot to Daryl for where I am today. And in part, he helps inspire why I believe in this workforce development work that we do through Connect, Focus, Grow.
And I'm Allie Ervig, she, her. I'm the marketing and development manager at Mentor Minnesota. And I guess I'm just gonna say Sarah and Emily. Yeah, both of you have been helpful in me figuring out how my interests can intersect with work. And if you guys don't know, I started as a Vista here, so I feel like that's some pretty good workforce development in action. But yeah, so thanks, guys. Yeah, they didn't pay me to say that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Allie, and for sharing that, and that, you know, really believing in this work through and through. But appreciate both of you for sharing. And yeah, again, continue to share in the chat as we really love to learn about you and connect. I'm Emily Garai. I use she, her. Advocating for young people, I'm the program director here at Mentor Minnesota, but advocating for young people is something that I've been passionate about my whole life. And so I'm really excited to continue this work alongside my Mentor Minnesota team. Someone that really changed the game for me regarding workforce way back when I was a young person trying to figure out what in the world I wanted to do, but was a manager that I had at a retail store. She was encouraging and understanding, kind of like a little bit like the story I shared at the beginning, but she was also really inclusive. She was always inviting me to the table of discussion and asking my perspective and curious about me and what I thought about the world. And I think that, it was a game changer, and just that she was willing to invest in the relationship with me and getting to know me. And then again, really being inclusive. So yeah, I appreciate all of you for sharing a little bit more in the chat too. Professional boss. Yeah. I love this, that he hired and was respectful, right? And really highlighting the importance of forgiving each other, providing grace. Yeah, awesome, Marianne. So yeah, continue to share your stories in there. I think, it kind of allows us to get to know each other, but then again, it also kind of allows us to kind of really lean into this conversation and thinking about those people that were in our career corner and continue to be as we go. All right, just really quickly, a little bit about Mentor Minnesota for those that are maybe new on this call. Really, our vision, our dream as an organization is that all youth have agency and power at home, school, in their community, and really in the workplace. So that means that we want to be here to support you, the adults. We believe in holistic youth development and that we elevate quality through these trainings that we do and provide resources, technical assistance, and cohort learning. And we also really believe in connecting people to each other and expanding the mentoring opportunities and also in influencing systems and understanding the power that positive relationships have and how mentorship can really be a game changer in those systems. All right, so where does the intersection of workforce navigation and mentorship, where does it come together? Well, really, to ensure a bright future for our young people, we must create workplaces that are supportive of their growth as the next generation of leaders and innovators. So in the chat, I'd also love you to, share a little bit more information regarding we're going to put out, Search Institute did a nice job of putting together why this really matters and why it's so important to have social capital and to support those initiatives for young people. And with that, we really know that mentorship programs can boost the representation and retention of Black, Indigenous, Hispanic, and other people of color. We know that groups greater in diversity means increased performance and innovation within the workplace. Some specific examples here are increasing the promotion and retention rates of men and women of color up to almost 40% compared to non-mentored minorities. Companies in the top quarter for both gender and ethnic diversity are more likely to outperform all other companies. And when employees think of their organization as being committed and supportive in diversity, they feel included and report better business performance in terms of ability to innovate. 73% also reports strong career satisfaction. Again, all of these circles connecting back to the power of relationship and feeling supported and understood and included, all really connect to the power that mentorship can have within the workplace. So again, where does mentorship intersect exactly? Well, workplaces can support opportunities for young people coming into the workforce by providing mentorship, by creating spaces for employers to be in the career corner, again, cheering on those young people, guiding, encouraging, and showing up. So we're going to just take a quick look at sort of an overview of what we're going to talk about today and through the eyes of people experiencing this firsthand.
Coming from where I'm from, you know, if you're not, guy dribbling the basketball, or you're not the guy who's on the sports team, you're just a kid. Someone telling you that they see something special in you, it makes you feel you were meant to be someone incredible.
The National Mentoring Project was funded by the Schultz Family Foundation. In phase 1 of the project, we pilot tested innovative training that supports young people, supervisors, and mentors, community mentors, in supporting youth in thriving in the workplace.
At the Schultz Family Foundation, we're working with Mentor to give young people the supports they need to be successful once they're on the job.
The Connect, Focus, Grow training, it prepared me for the internship because it gave me a foundation to build off, and it helped me in my relationships and networking.
A lot of the participants, they are out of high school and trying to figure out what they're going to do next. They're disconnected from a lot of the opportunities. And so by coming to this training and getting connected with mentors, they've been able to get quite a bit of guidance, not just from us, but from other caring adults.
What Connect, Focus, Grows allows us to do is heighten the supervisor's awareness, heighten the employee's awareness of how they show up to interact with the other employees in the workplace.
We believe big problems require cross-sector solutions. That's why Connect, Focus, Grow brings together companies and nonprofits to empower young people to be successful at work.
The National Mentoring Project is a turnkey solution for employers. There are trainings, tools, online resources, materials to support the development of young people and young workers, and to build the talent pipeline for employers for years to come.
We've seen our young adults get employment and stay employed because they've had really great support in their workplaces. They've had mentors that they can reach out to, and it's really helped us build and deepen our relationships with different employer partners who've been really excited about this type of training that's available.
Watching both recipients be able to go through this process and grow jointly, because as much as we think that the growth is in the mentee, there is a certain amount of growth that happens in the mentor.
Challenged me in a way that didn't make it feel like my back was against the wall, but like that they just wanted to see how much I could grow.
So Connect, Focus, Grow, as you know, was just highlighted in a really well done. I love that they got the perspective of both nonprofit leaders, workforce organizations, and those young people experiencing this training, so that it, you know, you could see the lens of all the different angles of why this really matters, and has been a really helpful resource and tool, you know, to really not just talk about this work, but actually dig in and get to work on it, making a big impact. So Connect, Focus, Grow is really, as it was mentioned, a training curriculum that employs a three-pronged approach. The first is really to equip mentors with the skills effective growth of young people. The second is to coach supervisor on how to manage with a mentoring mindset. And the third is how to guide young people towards engaging and leveraging mentoring opportunities, while at the same time meeting their goals. So you might be thinking, this is great, but I'm not so sure this training serves my organization or my workplace. So who does it serve? Well, this training really serves young people who are entering or preparing to enter the workforce. This also serves supervisors, employers of youth employees, and also community-based and employee mentors of youth. So really, you know, I think this training is done in such a way that if you work with young people, this, you know, is really tailored and would suit you as far as a really holistic and great understanding of what and why mentorship matters. And really the goal of Connect, Focus, Grow is to create a mentoring mindset for industry professionals to increase positive outcomes for youth. I mean, that's why we're here in this space, right? We want to create those supportive pathways, and we want job seekers, you know, to feel included and to feel that they have a place at the table that maybe traditionally they hadn't been seen as candidates. We want to invite them, encourage them to be at the table. So how does this training support these areas? And really there's three concepts in the workforce training, multitude of templates and tools and tons of resources of support. But these are just kind of these key concepts that, again, we only have a short amount of time together today. So I'm just going to do a high level highlight of some of these concepts. But the first one is the mentoring mindset. Another important key concept is uplifting cultural humility. And then the third is really through providing tools and guidance for employers and supervisors in building a system of support. So we're going to talk about all of these here, again, at kind of a high level. But really the first being the mentoring mindset. So what in the world is a mentoring mindset? So in the chat, I'd love you to share, what do you think? You know, I'm not going to grade you on your response here, but I'd love to know, what do you think it means to have a mentoring mindset? I know Allie and Sarah might have a leg up, but you could help and add a little bit too if you would like to. I don't want to exclude you. Any ideas of what? I'll kind of kick us off. So the mentoring mindset kind of is centered around 4 areas or 4 kind of concepts. But yes, being open to learning, growing from others, remembering what it was like to be new, right? It's not all learned in books, absolutely. Someone who's willing to create an open and honest space for young people to grow and develop. Spot on. And I can assure you, I didn't give you any hints yet. You jumped right ahead of me. So that's coming from you, and you're absolutely right. The mentoring mindset is really centered on all of those concepts, right? So it's developmental. So that means it changes and can grow over time, right? As I was kind of sharing a little bit of my story when I first started out, you know, my manager in my career corner at that time, you know, and I didn't really know a whole lot. And, you know, but it was developmental. And as I learned and grew, then it changed as well. So again, it's developmental. Another really important piece of the mentoring mindset is it's intentional. So that means I see you, you matter. Oprah. And I know, Allie, I don't know how much you know about Oprah because you're so young, but those of us that are a little bit older. Oprah is just still such a powerful, leader. And she shared that after 25 plus years of conducting interviews with a diverse mix of people, there was one thing out of all of the different, if you think of the thousands of interviews and all of the people she connected with, there was one thing that they all had in common. And that was that when the lights and cameras turned off, they would ask, was that okay? Emphasizing that as humans, our desire to be validated, to be seen, to be heard and valued for the unique contributions that we have is so important to the work that we do. And so again, just kind of thinking about that. And so it's such a diverse, and out of all of those people, that they all have that in common, that we all have that in common, that we really want to be validated and to be seen. Another piece of the mentoring mindset is to be supportive. So that's showing up for young people in a non-judgmental way. So leaving assumptions behind, right? And providing a space for curiosity and for empathy. Again, empathy, not sympathy, but empathy. So really, as someone shared in the chat, remembering what it was like to be new and really leaning into that and thinking back to your own experiences. And lastly, the mentoring mindset is communal. So that's kind of the village concept, right, of connectedness to community. So understanding that mentorship may be a connecting piece to other spheres in one's life. So for young people, it might be school and sports. For others, it might be home. And again, particularly in this case, the workplace. So kind of understanding that connectedness to community is really important. So that, again, that relatability piece to and understanding that sense of community there. The second key concept too, that Connect, Focus, Grow highlights is the concept of cultural humility. And so in the chat, again, I love the chat, but feel free if you want to unmute. And, I'm sure you get tired of hearing my voice, and I get tired of hearing my own voice in my head sometimes too, but feel free to unmute. But to share, what is a talent or a strength that you have that may surprise people? And I'll kick it off, and I'll start by saying that I absolutely love to operate a mini excavator. So digging in the dirt. And again, I might do it with earrings and like all kinds of jewelry, but I still love to get in there and dig in the dirt. So again, what is a talent or a strength you have that may surprise others?
I can go next. Mine is, I'm an endurance athlete, so I can push myself really hard, and I'm very comfortable with discomfort. So I suppose that would be a skill that especially shows up when I'm doing something like running or biking.
Perfect. Thank you. Anyone else? Come on, I know this is a talented group. Oh, good. Great baker and bake for others. You and Allie have something in common. Allie's also a great baker. I can get a seat on light rail no matter how crowded. Awesome, Marianne, love it. Using those New York City skills, right? I would love to hear some of those helpful hints maybe sometime. Chop veggies super evenly. That is a skill. That's awesome. I know when I was just cutting a cucumber last night, and my daughter actually commented on it. She's like, Mom, there's no consistency. So again, it's a talent that I might not otherwise know about you, right? So I appreciate that, and kind of just thinking about that. This question is actually a great starting point and a conversation starter for mentors and mentees as they begin to build relationships. It kind of helps break the ice, and it helps to make connection, right? Like two of you happen to enjoy baking, And from there, you can kind of spark a longer conversation. On the screen, you see, this is a picture, and maybe some of you have seen this before, but this is a picture of the cultural iceberg. It's really a visual that differentiates what we see about each other at the surface versus the depth of who we are. So what influences our thoughts and our actions. So we as human beings don't really take much time to study or really educate ourselves on being intentional building relationships. And uplifting cultural humility is really, really important. And I'd say foundational when it comes to, building relationships, because it's acknowledging that our culture and our experiences in life can be very different from someone else. As Marianne just shared from New York City, right? That's very different than when I grew up in a really small town in Northwest Minnesota. So again, kind of where are we from and those experiences. So in other words, to cultural norms that we've grown accustomed to in our lives may or may not align to those that others have experienced. And so rather than judging each other, we can actually cultivate our sense of curiosity and explore one another's cultures and life experiences that are below the surface that you see here. And so what we're exploring a little bit today are not things that you will immediately get down perfectly. Again, emotions and instinct will cause this to be something you need to practice to get better. For example, we don't ask someone to be on the track team just because they're able to walk. We should not expect someone to be good at a relationship right out of the gate necessarily, or good at relationship development simply because they can communicate. So rather, how can we practice? How do we practice? Sometimes it requires us to step outside of our comfort zone. So kind of thinking back to that story I shared at the beginning with Louise and John. Louise shared not only has she had an opportunity to be a mentor, but she's also had the opportunity to learn from John. And John has had the opportunity to learn from Louise, right? So there's both these opportunities to kind of learn about one another. And so really this piece here, the cultural humility piece, again, we could talk and with the training, we do there's so many fun examples and scenario practices and ways we lean into this conversation. But really, I hope the takeaway here is that cultural humility focuses on teaching and learning, sharing power and collaborating, cultivating curiosity, and that's exploring the depth of what makes each of us unique. And again, leaving those assumptions behind. And that's why I asked you to share something that folks might not otherwise know or maybe be able to recognize when they see you, right? So with that brings us to our third key concept, and that's the ladder of inference. So in order to build systems of support with organizations, it's important to recognize the ladder of inference. So we're going to do a little practice scenario, a really brief one, but I'm going to share it's like 2-sentence long story, okay? And from there, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion and connect it back to this ladder that you see. So imagine that you're driving to the mall and you see the perfect parking spot, perfect, maybe even shade, right? I think of how hot the summer is and perhaps there's a nice shady spot right there and you find it. So just as you pull into the spot, another car races in front of you and takes the spot. So in the chat, or you can unmute, what is your reaction at that moment? What's going through your head? And again, this is just practice, so you can be honest here. So again, how do you react? You see this really perfect spot, car races in and takes it. Very annoyed. Yeah, wonder why they took it, right? So maybe mad, angry, frustration, irritation, right? All those things. So the man in the car that took the spot, okay, I'm going to add on to this story a little bit. The man in the car comes running over to your window and shares that his wife is going into labor and he was rushing to meet her. So with this new context, how do you react? And what are you thinking now? glad they got the spot. Relief, right? Understanding. I appreciate that relief, almost like, oh, at first some frustration to, oh, I'm so glad that he got this spot there, right? So using this ladder of inference on the slide, and we're going to use it in the context of this story or the mall parking lot, okay? So what were some observable facts in the story? For example, the parking lot is at the mall. What else do we know? What's an observable fact? It's kind of a tricky one because there's not a lot. There are a few spots, right? Maybe it's a hot day. I did kind of add that in there just to add for dramatic theme, but right? Person is driving fast, absolutely. Racing, right? Which just kind of adds sort of this extra layer of stress too, right? They're racing in. Yeah. So again, those are some observable facts, right? And then what data did you choose to focus on? What assumptions? For me, maybe racing equaled rude, right? If you're racing around a parking lot, that equaled being rude in my mind, right? What else? What other data how did you feel irritated or annoyed? Maybe you even had something, like you were confused as to why they took it and were clearly about to take the spot. Inferred that they didn't care about me in the process of waiting. Absolutely. Or not the friendly wave, like, go ahead. You were here first, you have that. You go, thank you. Really, right? Kind of inferring that they didn't care. Absolutely. And then think about how you gathered and learned more facts. So then after that, the man rushes over to you and says his wife's in labor. And then how did it change that reflective loop? And that's actually, again, so we're thinking of the bottom of that ladder being that pool of data. And really the goal is to stay low on that ladder of inference. So the more context changed, the why of the situation. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, this ladder of inference can really play out in our relationships with others, in our relationships with young people, right? Also, yes, I realized that he actually was very caring and wanted to be safe for his wife, right? Wanted to get to her right away. Absolutely. And this ladder of inference can be a really important and powerful tool when it comes to building relationships with young people and with others, our coworkers or those young people coming in. Because in building these systems of support by staying low on that ladder of inference, we can ensure that we aren't cutting an opportunity short because we went right to the top and acted, right? Like, so if you have this pool, this car's racing in and you go right to the top and you react, you have an action, you're upset or say words, perhaps, there could have been a lot of things. By staying low on that ladder of inference, we want to gather as much data as we can. We want to observe, right? And again, stay low so that we aren't going right to react. For instance, if you're working with a young person and they're late, if you go right to the top and react, an employer might cut or, fire someone over being late. But instead, if we can stay lower on that ladder, we might be able to build better systems of support. And maybe it's a transportation issue for this young person coming in, and we could provide some transportation resources or find a different way, maybe change a shift. Again, trying our best to develop this relationship with those we're working with by staying low on that ladder will help us really build a strong foundation of understanding that's full of empathy and really collaborative and problem solving there. And kind of circling back to cultural humility, acknowledging that we have personal biases do impact sometimes our our focus and how we process the world around us. And this, is also connects to our actions. So in learning and leaning into ways that we can practice self-reflection as mentors, as supervisors, as employers, we can hold each other accountable for continually practicing cultural humility and staying low on that ladder of inference, right? And there again, like feeling of relief after we learn the context, rather than being, again, quick to react. It can really, again, in this case, I would like to think it was a game changer, and hopefully this person got to his wife and everyone stayed healthy in the rest of their day. So, but it's just another tool and good way of thinking of things. So in the mentoring relationship, so this is kind of that last big piece. In the mentoring relationship, it's critical that we intentionally look for and acknowledge and celebrate growth. So in this training, there's additional tools and templates that are shared out regarding conversation starters, setting and managing goals. And Terry Barber is actually in something called the Inspiration Factor. And Terry highlights an important mentoring approach, which applies within management teams. So if you're on a management team right now, this is sort of, concept for you to lean into a little bit. And that's called notice, name, and nurture. So in these relationships, it's important to notice, name, and nurture the positive actions that someone takes to strengthen the relationship and move toward their goals. So again, I'm going to say that one more time. So in relationships that we have, it's important to notice, name, and nurture the positive actions that someone takes to strengthen the relationship and move toward their goals. So these small steps are critical to achieving the big goals that we set for ourselves. So this tool or template that you see on the screen here, it's called My Web of Support. This is just an example. But it's a helpful tool in regard of those supporting navigational goals. So again, this idea within this training of building those systems of support, this is just one of those templates that we use to, that you get to walk away with, that really helps you when it comes to navigating goals along with your mentee. And also included in this, there's checklists for one-on-one meetings, things to include, things to perhaps avoid, networking tools. And then another really important aspect is also the navigation of changing circumstances. And I think as we know, after the past 2 years and continued, right, it's hard to navigate changing circumstances. And so this is a really, it's a great piece of the training that I think helps both mentors and mentees understand and helps navigate, again, all of those changing circumstances, and again, build better systems of support in doing so. So that's kind of a wrap for a mini preview of the Connect, Focus, Grow. Again, I wish I had all of you for at least a couple of hours, but again, hopefully following this, that, we've opened the door for you to connect with us and learn a little bit more about how you could implement and get connected to this training. Because really, again, it's about transforming working partnerships and allowing that mentorship relationship to positively impact workplace culture. And again, in doing that, it also drives workplace equity. And so it's really such an important and really, I'm excited that we can offer this training to all of you. In addition to our Connect, Focus, Grow training, Mentor also offers the Workplace Mentoring Supplement. And that's a supplement to something that we really ground all of our work on, and that's the Elements for Effective Practice for Mentoring. And again, it's research and data-based and really important. But we'll share this in the chat if any of you would like to get a hold of it and explore this tool, but it's really great. So it not only talks about all the different elements of mentoring, but it also, in addition to that, then talks about the importance of building relationships. There's different guidance when it comes to practicing critical and creative thinking. It discusses decision-making, It also talks about giving and receiving feedback, which sometimes can be a difficult thing. But again, a place for growth and a way to not be afraid of leaning into that, and how can we help to guide and mold each other into being our best that we can be. And it also discusses driving influence for young employees. So a really, really great resource that we're excited to share out with all of you. And lastly, this is a really short video. I think it's under a minute, but this is something that Mentor has worked really hard at trying to create a way that you can plug and play different resources and areas when it comes to driving workforce equity. And this was an initiative that we rolled out this last spring and summer, and it's called the Workforce Equity Pledge. And we'll also share ways for you to get connected to that as well. And in doing that, and I'll share it right after this really short video. So this pledge really aims to support tomorrow's leaders, and it does that by amplifying equity in the workplace, as I mentioned. So by taking the pledge, you're actually really helping to ensure that every young person has an opportunity to nurture their passions, their interests, right? And then discover a meaningful career, one that they want to stay at, one that they believe in. And yeah, I think it's just an incredible way for all of you. So no matter, I mean, and feel free to share all of this out with your networks. But when you, we'll share the link in the chat, but when you take the Work Equity Pledge, you can actually decide at what level that your organization wants to do this. So perhaps you want to advocate. So that would be encouraging your representatives here on a local level to support Youth Workforce Readiness Act that's actually right on the docket right now. So there's ways that you can directly impact and advocate. There's other ways that you can learn. So you can watch Mentors training on bringing the mentoring mindset to the workplace. You can connect with Ali, Sarah, and Emily at Mentor Minnesota to get connected to the Connect, Focus, Grow training within your organization. You can also elevate. And so that's downloading resources that talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Mentor has a really amazing resource library. Sarah sometimes mentions that we feel like librarians because we're trying to pull and gather as much as we can and share it out with all of you. But this is a way that you get directly connected to those resources and explore. So again, maybe it's downloading Becoming a Better Mentor, a great new resource that just came out in 2022. It has 12 chapters of incredible content on strategies, how to be there for young people. So really you can decide at what level that your organization will want to get involved, and then you can grab and go. Again, but hopefully you, nonetheless, whatever you decide to do, hopefully you stay connected with us because we want to stay connected with you, and then get to decide what you'd like to do there. So with that, I've done a lot of talking. I know I crammed a lot of content as best I could into 45 minutes, but I'd love to open it up for any questions or even comments or thoughts, feelings from anyone. And Katya, yes, absolutely. Happy you're here with us today. And if there aren't any other questions, we can even give you back a little bit more time and space to your day as well. But again, I really hope that you stay connected with us. You'll see this is all of our contact information up on the screen, but we'll also, I know we shared it in the chat with all of you. Please stay connected. And again, we have a trainer that's going to be joining us here now at the end of summer, early part of fall. And so we're going to be kicking off our workforce development cohort, which I know I'm a little bit biased being part of the Mentor Minnesota team, but I think it's going to be phenomenal. And if you or someone or your organization's network wants to get involved with that, please connect with us and we can do our best to get you connected. There will be limited spaces, but we're excited to offer this to as many folks, as many teams as we possibly can late summer, early fall. So again, we really want to connect with you. And again, we're always looking for feedback. And so you can either aim your camera at the QR code or we'll drop the link in the chat and let us know what you thought about today. And again, if there's anything in addition that we can do to support your organization or your work, we'd love to hear about it, because we do want to continue to improve and innovate and partner on anything and everything we can. But again, appreciate all of you for being here. I'll probably play a little bit of Prince as you go, because it's raining here in the Northwest Metro, which we need really badly, by the way, but I'm happy and hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day.